Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And once again, we're back on YouTube with the podcast. This is episode 35 of Sports Fanatic Forum. We'll be back on YouTube and TikTok on Thursday as I'm waiting for my keyboard, mouse, and my keyboard and mouse. I'm waiting on that to get here. So we'll be back to YouTube and TikTok normally on this Thursday for episode 36. But let's get into it with Zip's update. Akron softball team wins the MAC tournament and advances to the NCAA softball tournament, so they get a chance to win the national championship as well as they just won the conference title. Let's talk about the three games they played to win the conference championship because the first game, that was just win, you advance. They had a first round bye too, and they finished top two in the MAC conference. So they got a first round bye, so avoided playing an extra game. They played Ohio in the first game, defeated them 6-5. Both teams had 7 hits in that game. Both teams played really well, but what it came down to, and it was a high scoring game. Like batting wise, both teams were tremendous. The pitching wasn't amazing, but Ohio had a catching error. I forget which inning it was in, but that was really crucial for them and what led to Akron being able to win that game and advance to the next matchup, which was the championship matchup, which was double elimination. So it was double elimination, or not double elimination, best two out of three. And so to decide the MAC winner, it came down to the best two out of three. So they played Western Michigan twice. In the first game, they were down 2-0 after the seventh. After the top of the seventh, it was the bottom of the seventh, and Akron was a batting. Lily Sullivan, game winning grand slam, won them that game. They didn't score till that seventh inning, and that's how they won it, taking that first game in the MAC championship. So really impressive, but not a great game because, like I said, they trailed most of it. The pitching was really solid from both sides through from the first to seventh inning, and then at the bottom of the seventh, had bases loaded. Bases loaded. Lily Sullivan hits the game-winning grand slam, and they win 4-2. And that's how the game ends. So now they got one more game against Western Michigan. If they win it, they advance. If they lose, then they play a third game, and that decides who advances to the who gets an automatic bid. Because I think even if Akron lost, they still would have got in, but it wouldn't have been automatic bid. But they did win that last game against Western Michigan, winning 3-1, and just had excellent pitching from start to finish. Only giving up one run, not giving up too many hits, not giving up a crazy amount of hits or nothing like that. So Akron ends up winning 3-1 in the second game against Western Michigan and third game of the MAC tournament. So they didn't have to play 4 or 5 games since they had the first round bye, and since they took care of business versus Western Michigan. But Akron softball has just had a really good season overall. Finished 34-23, three in the regular season. They won the MAC tournament, advanced to the playoffs and to the NCAA softball tournament, where they'll be taking on forgetting the name. LSU. Don't know why I just randomly forgot LSU, but they're gonna be taking on LSU. That should be a really good game. That's taking place on Friday, so I'm definitely gonna be tuned into that. Maybe I'll make it short. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just save it for the podcast like I usually do, since it'll give me some. I might make it short about it because I'm not talking about Akron's baseball team this week. I'll say that for next week once the season is wrapped up and just talk about their season, talk about the last 2 weeks in general because baseball is not really worth it for me to cover them. So I kind of just skipped over them for this week just to focus on softball, put the focus on them. And obviously, I talked about lacrosse already as their season ended up with them losing in the MAC tournament. And yeah, but going forward for Zip's update, it'll be a lot of off season stuff. Talk about the season, and once softball season is over, I can talk about the season in whole, whether the success, whether the disappointment. Overall, it's been successful, but depending on what happens in this tournament, you got to determine if it was more successful or less successful. Obviously, basketball, it was a big success overall. It was just the first March Madness first round, didn't do anything. But it's deeper stuff to dive into, but it'll be stuff like that than the football team talking about recruits, the new quarterback they got, because I still haven't covered that yet. So as far as Zip's update goes, I'm giving y'all the update here in the coming weeks since it's since the season's almost wrapped up, and then I'll try to get into some other sports next year. Guess they got rifle at Akron. It's probably swimming and diving not covered a little bit. So it'll be different sports that I try to cover throughout the summer because I'll have a couple of months for that. Because I'll be back in August, so I'll have like 2 3 months to talk about stuff before the football season gets started for sure. And maybe I could just make this segment about college sports in general, and talk about the landscape of college sports, and talk about the landscape of where Akron is compared to other teams in the conference, maybe even out of conference as well. And so it'll just depend on what I think makes the most sense and what's going to get the most views. So you'll see that in the coming weeks. But Akron softball won the MAC tournament. Shout out to them. Hopefully they can beat LSU and win the national championship for softball. Because that'll be amazing. That'll be some great content to cover on here. But let's move on. Bowling spotlight. I think it was some tournaments that took place this past week, but I had was busy moving. Had to work some long hours. Worked 4 hours on Friday, then worked 12 that next Saturday. So didn't really get a chance to catch the last event or two. I'm definitely go back and catch up on that because I want to get caught up before the next event comes up. But um, I figured I'd just use this time to talk about the PBA rookie class in general because it's been a really fun rookie class to watch. It's four rookies have won tour titles this year. Brandon Bonta, he won the PBA Players Championship. He had a 256.25 average in the finals, and that was February 22nd. Um, Spencer Robarge won the PBA Ohio Classic on April 5th, where he had it was yeah he had yeah, I remember that. I think I covered all of these if I'm not mistaken. Austin Grammer, he won the New York Classic on April 12th, had a 299 in the title game versus Chris Prather, which that was a really entertaining match because Chris Prather he played well. He finished with a 234. He didn't play bad. It was just it just came down to that 299. Like I said, Austin Grammer was fantastic, and then Alex Horton, most recent rookie to win on April 26th, PBA Tournament of Champions. He won that. And what makes this rookie class so special and why it's already one of the best and got potential to be one of the greatest because you have four total rookies win titles so far. It's the first time in PBA history that four rookies won in the same season. So we're not used to seeing that. So even Ron Barnes, I think he got to the finals a couple of times last year, but he didn't win any. He set rookie records, but he only thing he was missing was a tour title. I don't know if he won. I think he won one this year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but he either has one or he doesn't have any yet. But yeah, this rookie class has been fantastic. Like I said, first time in PBA history where they have four rookies win in the same season. So I don't know if that's going to be replicated next year or in the years coming. Like I feel like it's going to be a while before that's replicated. Uh, Another impressive stat: the rookie winners are averaging mid 250s in their championship matches. So, and then obviously, um, yeah, and then it would have been a bit higher if Grammer would have got a 299, would have got a 300. It would have just been higher by a little bit, but Austin Grammer nearly having 300, crazy. We got a rookies that are averaging mid 250s in their championship matches, which is crazy. And then the lane patterns has been pretty much the same. Like they're using the same patterns when they bowl, pretty much just the bear and strike patterns that's been featured in the rookie win. So that's also crazy to think about that all these new guys coming in, they're using this same style of play, and that's how they're winning. So maybe it can be replicated, maybe it won't. We'll just have to see. But what they've been able to do this season has simply been fantastic. Um, it was some, yeah, like I said, Brandon Bonta, his average in the finals was quite crazy. Like Brandon Bonta, he did his thing in that which his wasn't even the craziest, but it was just impressive because he had multiple matchups. Austin Grammer, he had one, I think. Austin Grammer just had to play one game because he finished first And a lot of guys that finish first end up losing because they have such a long break and such a long period of just resting. But he had a 299 and it's one game in the finals and the championship in the step ladder, I should say, because obviously they got the tournaments, the best of sevens to lead up to this. But Austin Grammer, he got first, and guys that have been first, especially younger guys, they usually fumble at that spot once it gets to that championship match because they just seen three other matches go on while they're resting and waiting at the top of the step ladder to see who they're going to face. All the pressure on, fantastic ball at 299. Alex Jordan, most recent one. I think he's the only black guy out of the four. So obviously got to shout him out. He did his thing though. In the tournament of champions, he was on one. Like he just couldn't be stopped. So man, that's weird. But yeah, Alex Horton, one of the four. Yeah, out of the four rookies, he's the only black guy a part of this rookie class, at least that I know of. There could be other rookies in this class that just haven't made an appearance yet, but these four have been fantastic and really carrying the PBA this year. The PBA being on the CW has been fantastic. It's had some really cool moments, had some not so great moments, but that's just bowling in general. Like you just gotta, that's just what's gonna come with it. But Brandon Bonte, he's had a few finishes, a few good tournaments where he just really shined. Like I said, average of 256.2 in the finals, which is crazy in itself. Spencer O'Bard, I didn't even know that the tournament he was in was the Ohio. Well, I knew, but I didn't know that PBA was coming to Ohio at that time. So if I had the money, I could have went to it, and I probably would have if I had the money for it, but I just didn't at the time. So then I think they go to Ohio every year. So they're there next year, and I'm gonna definitely try to go to it if it's around that same date, because that's definitely something I think I would have enjoyed. That would have been a very cool experience. That would have been a great vlog too. That would have been crazy. But yeah, Austin Grammer, he won the New York Classic. Yeah, as I meant, yeah, that 299, that was impressive. Brandon Bontes, yeah, like all these guys have just been really good. Like it's not too much more I can say about them. Like I don't want to keep repeating the same stuff, but this has been a really fantastic rookie class, and yes, nothing really negative to say because they've all been really good this year. So yeah, it's nothing negative to say about them, and I don't want to be overly negative or nothing like that because this all four have been really great. But to to wrap it up, I could talk about the four and talk about the best to worst. Well, not best to worst, but how I rank the four. And yeah, how I rank the four. First, I'll definitely go Alex Horton. The Tournament of Champions, that's such a hard tournament to win. So like anybody could really it's definitely like rookies don't usually win that tournament. So I put him first. So he was able to win that. And like I said, really rare for a rookie to win that. So definitely got the strongest win out of all of them and winning the tournament of champions. And that's one of the biggest storylines of the year. He got the momentum, got the narrative with him, made the biggest title you could win, especially in your rookie year. So got to put him first. Number two, Brandon Bonta. Uh, as I mentioned, the 256 average in the finals, 256.25, highest verified scoring stat of any rookie this season. I look like it's like he was very poised in his TV debut. Like he looked like somebody that's been there before. And the PBA Players Championship is also one of the bigger tournaments that you can win. So winning the title that huge is insane. Number three, Austin Grammer, 299 in a title match versus Chris Prather. Just amazing moment that nobody's ever gonna forget. Highest single game of scoring of a rookie out of this class. But this wasn't one of the bigger. This is one of the smaller tournaments, though, the New York Classic, and it's something you won't forget. But it's also like he just had one game in that final in the step ladder because he was first. So his overall run was really impressive. Got to give him credit for that. But he had one game, all the pressure was on, and he delivered when it mattered most. And then Spencer Robards would be at fourth because he's amazing when it comes to patterns. Winning the PBA Ohio Classic, he's known for thriving on tougher patterns such as the bear and the shark, and he's been the most consistent out of them. the reason why they're higher is because they had those highlight moments this year, and they all have highlight moments, obviously winning a tournament, but it's the difficulty of the tournament and how important it is that separates the tournament because the Ohio Classic, that was a standard tournament that really anybody could win, but if it's just in general, he's been the most consistent. But if we had to rank the wins and stuff from importance and value, he'll definitely be last. But he's been the most consistent out of the four. And then obviously it's other rookies, but these four stand out. Like it's nobody else that's been able to do what they've did this season. Like this is one of the most special rookie classes. Definitely the best rookie class of this decade. Is it the best rookie class all the time? Don't know about that. Don't know if I would say that yet. Could they be? Potentially. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But for now, they're the best rookie class of this decade. And maybe somebody else will pop off this year as well. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, this PBA rookie class has been amazing. It's truly been a special class so far. We're only 5 months into the year, so we still got a couple of more months to go. But yeah, but now let's get into the hot take of the week, which is a hot take from me personally. Usually I request for hot takes, have people give me hot takes and I reply to them. But I have a hot take of my own. That's the topic of this video that I wanted to express, which is golf is the hardest sport to win in. And I know it might sound crazy, but when you think, and I'm gonna talk about Live Golf a little bit. I'm gonna recap Live Golf Virginia a little bit since I didn't really talk about it. I was gonna make a video about it, but I didn't. But I'm gonna talk about it here, and since I'm already on the topic of golf, this was a cool tournament. I enjoyed watching it. Excuse me. Lucas Herbert was fantastic from round two to round four. Like even round one, he was still really good, but round two is when he finally started to separate himself and get ahead of the pack a little bit. He finished with a minus 24, one of the most dominant performances we've seen this year. And Lucas Herbert ends up winning his first um his first Live Golf tournament, 2026. Then Sergio Garcia finished in second with a minus 20, which is gonna win a lot of other tournaments. Like that win, like some of the scores that was in the top 10 will usually win a tournament, but just wasn't able to this time. Bryson the Chimbe, he had a minus 19, had a third place finish, and we know he's won two tournaments already this year, so he is on pace to tie the record, which was set last year with four. So he can still do that, especially with another top three finish. So obviously he didn't win, but he got that motor, and and he's just that great to where he could win a couple of more tournaments before the year ends. So we'll see. And then the lowest score in the top 10 was minus 15, and which in the past we've seen a score up of minus 16, minus 17, even minus 15 win tournaments, depending on if it's 3 or 4 rounds, depending on the location as well. But we've seen scores lower than a minus 24 win, even in a tournament. Like Sergio Garcia finishing with a minus 20 and still losing is absurd. Like that's crazy. But yeah, top like the guy that was in 11, he was at a minus 14. Like, if that's a 3 round tournament, you can probably win with a minus 14, which is crazy to think about, but it's not crazy at the same time. It's just crazy because of how fantastic Lucas Herbert was. Like, that's what's crazy. Lucas Herbert was amazing. And then it's not, I'm not even like the biggest golf fan, but objectively speaking, I do think it's the hardest to win in. And I say this as somebody that's watching golf, bowling, which I just talked about, baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, hockey, and then I'm trying to get into stuff like tennis, biking, and boxing. I want to get into stuff like that. So I'm not just saying this just to glaze or whatever people like to say, because like I haven't been watching golf as long as some of the other sports. What's been but golf, I truly think it's so hard to win in because all the pressure is on you in golf. If you make one mistake, if the wind is blowing the wrong way, if you hit into the bunker, like it's so you can't make a mistake in golf because if you do, it, it's pretty much over. Luck might not be on your side one game in one tournament, and when you compare it to other sports, the reason why I think it's not as hard to win, obviously any sport is hard to win in because you got to be talented, you got to have the team, the coaching, um, the, you got to have good chemistry, great teamwork, coaching, talent, obviously. obviously matters, but you can't have talent where it's like the egos is overshadowing each other. But it's a lot that goes to these sports, even in the individual sport. You got to be able to, in a sport like golf or bowling, you got to be able to stay calm, got to be able to deal with the pressure, got to be able to deal with the noise. So, but when you look at basketball, right, we just seen the Lakers and OKC series. We seen Shea struggle, and I'm not talking about efficiency wise. I mean turnovers, not getting to the line as much in games 1 through 3. Because the Lakers' game plan was double team Shea, limit him, stop him from doing anything, and that's why his averages were down. That's why he was committing a lot of turnovers. OKC still led 3-0 because Chet Holmgren, he played fantastic. He looked like one of the best bigs in the league, which he has been, which is why he finished second in DPOY this year. Then you had AJ Mitchell, who looked fantastic, who I said has the best contract in the league. He's getting paid like $3 million a year, and he had a 24 point, 10 assist double double with 0 turnovers. See, even if your top guy's still struggling, if you have the teamwork, chemistry, and coaching, your team can still win. Okay, so you were still up a 3-0. In football, we've seen Josh Allen have this amazing game versus the Chiefs, and I'm talking about the Travis Kelsey one where they allowed Travis Kelsey, Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. Mahomes completed the pass to Kelsey to get into field goal range for the Chiefs, and they had just 13 seconds left. That was probably Josh Allen's best playoff performance, and they end up losing. They didn't get to the Super Bowl, which they could have that year, but it didn't. It ended up going into overtime because the defense gave it up in 13 seconds. And when you look at volleyball, I just talked about the MLV championship game. Mimi Collier, who I said was the best player in the MLV this past season, she didn't play great. She was all right, but she wasn't amazing. She didn't live up to her typical standards. But they still won. Sophie Melanda Diaz was still amazing and still led them to a victory in the championship game. So I feel like it's what makes golf so hard is that it's nobody else to where the pressure is all on you. You're also relying on others to make mistakes because in hockey, if you make one mistake, you can make up for it. If your goalkeeper gives up 2 goals in the first period, you can bench him, bring in somebody else, and maybe they don't give up a single goal, and your team is able to score and tie the game 2-2, or you still lose it, but you lose 2-0 or 2-1. But your other goalkeeper, he didn't give up anything, so now you got that adjustment to make in game 3. Oh, now that we benched him and our backup goalie didn't give up anything, do we play him? Probably so, because he didn't give up a single goal, and you scored one. So now, if you have him for the whole game 3, per se, then look at what can happen. Like Casey DeSmith, Jake Orntiger, for example. Dallas, should we go Casey DeSmith? Or whichever one gives up less goals in this previous game. I'm just using them. I'm using Dallas as an example. I know they're still in the playoffs because they just swept somebody. Or did they? I'm trying. Yeah. But I'm just using Dallas. Obviously, I don't think they swept them. Did they lose or no? The Stars lost in 6, but that's why I was using them for an example. So yeah, so y'all can see where I'm going with that. So, like I said, it's when the pressure is on you, everything relies on you. That's what I feel like makes it so hard because in a lot of team sports, you can make a mistake. Your top player cannot be playing at his best. Like I said, Shea wasn't playing how he normally plays at an MVP level. He was committing a lot of turnovers. He wasn't taking as many shots. He wasn't getting to the free throw line as much. And OKC was still able to win games because you got a great coach in Mark Daigneault who led them to the first seed 3 years in a row. You got good talent like Chet Holmgren and AJ Mitchell and Jared McCain, who the Sixers just wasn't using. And then he got the OKC and he's shining now. So that's why I think it's so hard to win in golf because you make one mistake, like it's pretty much over. Like even in bowling, you make one mistake, you can recover if the guy that you're going against makes a mistake. And it's team events in bowling too. Like I think golf is team stuff too, but it's not as much. It's not as focused on in golf and bowling. But y'all see the point that I'm making. But like I think golf is super hard to win in. Like like I said, this past live golf tournament, Lucas Herbert had a -24. And Sergio Garcia finished in second with a -20. You know how many guys that win in the tournament if they have a -20, and that just happened. That just so just just that didn't happen this past weekend. This last tournament, Live Golf Virginia. That -20, the -19 that Bryson DeChambeau had. He usually wins the tournament with that, but he didn't. But that's just like golf is super hard to win in. I think it's the hardest sport to win in. Like I said, if it comes to like hockey, baseball, like even baseball, like Shohei Ohtani, he had a really good season, but then once it came to the World Series, he wasn't great. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't what we normally saw. And the Dodgers still won. They're the most talented team in the league. So they didn't need Shohei to be amazing. They didn't need him to be his MVP self to win that World Series. They still had the talent to get the job done, and they did that. So, with that being said, this is my hot take. Let me know if y'all agree or disagree with it, but I think golf is the hardest sport to win in. So, let me know what y'all think. And like I said, this is Ed Fluential Sports. So, we talk about a lot of sports on this channel. So, I'm not just saying this to say this. Like, I truly believe that, especially after watching this past tournament of Live Golf of Virginia. No, it's crazy. But speaking of sports, let's move on to WWE Raw. A drastic improvement from last week. I thought this was a good episode. I give it a 7 out of 10. I made a short about the shorts I made today cover multiple things throughout the show, which I kind of like because now it gives me time to expand further on some other points on other parts of the show. Because sometimes it's super quick, but um, yeah, I got a little bit of time to separate this and talk about it. So um, I'll start with the El Grande segment. I thought that was funny. Um, at first, I wasn't liking it because I was like, I don't really know where this is going. It was just original El Grande, aka Chad Gable, and the Creed brothers in match talking to Adam Pierce. Then Dominic interrupted, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So they'll probably get a match. And then Adam Pierce is like, well, you want a title shot, and you have a title. So now you're going to get that and put the title on the line versus El Grande tonight. So I thought that was cool. I like how we got to that match. I thought that was a good segment. It was short. It was quick. Served its purpose, and it had some good lines. Like Dominic called him a fake luchador, which I know is pretty basic, but it's like obviously Dom is a luchador. You don't got to wear a mask to be a luchador. But so I thought that was good. It had them confused, made them upset as the heels. Dom and Liv. So I thought that was a good segment. And then you got a good match later in the night, which I'll talk about. Which I'll talk about towards the end of the Raw recap. And then you got a promo in the ring with Penta calling out Ethan Page. He was like, "You called me out. You pinned me. I'll take you on anytime, any place." And then Ethan Page, he was like, "Whoa, buddy, slow your roll. We're gonna do this on my time." So he was like, at Saturday night's main event, that's when we're gonna have a match. So you get a match made for Saturday night's main event. Cool. This has been a good story. The matches they've been having has been good. Ethan pinned them last week. This was a good promo. And then Rusev came out there, and Rusev, he was like, he was telling Ethan Page to slow down because I won the match as well. And he didn't mention that he also pinned Ethan Page, which I thought was weird. But Rusev pinned Ethan Page 2 weeks ago, and in a one-on-one match, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a one-on-one non-title match. But Rusev, he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to." But Rusev wanted his title shot. And then Ethan was like, all that sounds good. I tried telling Adam Pierce this until Javon Evans came and interrupted us. And then Javon Evans, he came down to the ring. He was like, hold on, you know I ain't say that. You lying on my name, except for the last part when you said I could whoop up on Rusev because I can do that. Then Rusev, he got mad. And then Javon was like, oh, I'm not lying. So then that led to a brawl. Then it led to Ethan Page and Rusev getting taken out. Then Javon, Penta, they do the Penta walk together. And so Javon and Rusev then had a match. And like that promo was really good, by the way. And Rusev and Penta versus Ethan is going to be a good match at Saturday night's main event. I wonder if Ethan wins, then we get Ethan versus Javon in the future. I could see that. I wouldn't be mad if that's the route they go. And then you had Javon taking on Rusev, which was a really entertaining match. This was really good. Rusev, you got some solid offense in. Javon, he was obviously doing the high flying stuff. Got the usual spot at a like suicide dive. Then the heel punches the face trying to do it. So Rusev punched him to avoid that. But Javon Evans, great match. Rusev, he really been doing his thing since that loss to Obafemi, which I thought was really, it wasn't a bad loss because he should have lost, but it was just a quick main event match. So since that, they didn't really recovered well and been doing a good job of Rusev. He's been a good heel. But Javon, he ended up getting the win, as he should have. It is a big win for Javon, beating a former U.S. champion. I think that's the only title Rusev has held in WWE. Maybe he won something in NXT and I forgot. But beating a former U.S. champion, beating a bigger and stronger guy, a good win for Javon and a good mid card stuff. Like you got to have these mid card matches. It makes sense. There's a story there with them, Ethan and Penta that's been building since WrestleMania, really. But Ethan just got involved. But obviously, the other three they've been going at it since WrestleMania. So they've been doing a good job building this story up, and we're not getting a fatal four way. Instead, we're actually getting the one on one matches, which is cool. So, um, like I said, we're getting Ethan versus Penta at Saturday night's main event. So that's super dope that we actually gonna get to see that instead of getting another triple threat or a fatal four way. We just came off of a 5-6 man ladder match at WrestleMania. So that was cool. I like that. Javon getting the win. Like I said, great decision. You had next you had Oscar telling EO that she's ready to take over. So I thought this was a good segment. We didn't really get an explanation as to. So we know that Oscar's leaving, but it's unclear if she's retiring or not. Which I wish we would have got some clarity on that. Like I get it, I get it to an extent. Like the stuff with her and EO, I'm cool with that. It's like yeah, they just had to match Oscar. She's ready to leave or do whatever. I don't know what she's doing actually, because it's very unclear if she's retired or not. I her semi-retired. What does that mean? How are you semi? Either you're retired or you're not. So somebody they need to figure out what the plan is. Maybe she'll come back and do like a one-off match, or come back for like the Royal Rumble or something. But I wish we got some clarity on that. But I did think the segment was cool. They had the match. Like the match was really great. That was the match of the night at Saturday night's main and Backlash. They made up after the match, seemingly letting us know that Oscar is done. Um, yeah, thank you, Oscar. As far as the women's tag teams goes in wrestling, I think her and Kairi Sane the Kabuki Warriors rank as the greatest women's tag team in wrestling history. Let me know what y'all think about that. Do y'all agree or disagree? And then as far as women's wrestling goes, I think she top all the women's wrestling. Does she go top? I'd say top 10 for sure. Top 15 at lowest, but she definitely top 10 when it comes to all the women's wrestling, not just WWE. So she top 10 for sure. And like I said, greatest women's tag team. The Kabuki Warriors greatest women's tag team in wrestling history, in my opinion. Them coming together was super organic. They had some good tag team championship runs. They were part of a faction as well with Damage Control. So even though Damage Control didn't live up to its fullest potential, it was still something where it was like I think because they was in Damage Control post Bailey, so that was actually and post Bailey it was better. It was booked better, ironically, which is hella weird. But yeah, they Oscar she definitely got some stuff. The undefeated streak was crazy. So shout out to Oscar. But since sticking with the women's division, Paige and Brie Bella called Dr. Judgment Day since they wanted to take since they called them out last week talking about getting the titles, this and that. I thought this was cool. I know Paige and Brie get a lot of slack for their mic work, but I thought this was a good segment. And then Raquel, she said something about a Paige ending up in another scandal. I thought that was pretty funny. People calling it cheap heat. Did it happen? Yeah, so it happened. I thought that was good though. I thought then Brie, she said that she said that Roxanne's mom would be disappointed in her. Now, I wish they would have went somewhere else with that before Liv came out there, because I don't know if she meant her actual mom or if she meant AJ Lee. Because I know Roxanne called AJ Lee her mom, like in a joking way. So I don't know if Brie meant AJ Lee or Roxanne's actual mom, because that would have been, if we'd have got clarity on that, that would have been cool. Hopefully, AJ Lee, since Roxanne is a heel, so obviously AJ Lee not heel, but it'll play into a heel saying, calling another person mom that's not actually her mom, and obviously then I was less like a mentor to her and Punk. So Yeah, because she called Punk dad too. So yeah, it wasn't clear if she was talking about AJ Lee or her actual mom, but I thought that segment was cool. Tag team championship match made for next week. Only thing I didn't like is that when Liv came out there, Nikki Bella wasn't nowhere to be found. Like I know Nikki Bella got the ankle injury, but she couldn't have did nothing to like hit her with a crutch or something. Like I know she injured, but she can't because we know ultimately what's gonna happen when Nikki comes back. They gonna kick out Paige. Like maybe they even lose the titles before Nikki gets it back, and then they take out the Paige together, and the Bella Twins go heel. Even though I don't like that because it's way too many heels on SmackDown right now, and if the Bellas turn heel, it's gonna be a lot of heels on Raw because Becky is still heel. Still got the whole Judgment Day. We don't know when the turn is gonna happen, so we still waiting on that. So I wouldn't turn Bree yet, even though the Bella should have been heels once Bree just came back. But at this point, it's too late. So it's like you're gonna have to wait. Then people want Stephanie to turn heel. So we just gonna have to see what's gonna happen. Maxine from the turn heel. Like Abby now is still a heel. Maybe Abby now will turn face if Maxine go heel. Then Natty, she was a heel, but she's working with Jada Parker in NXT now. So yeah, it's all over the place. But I thought that segment was good for what it was. You had the Obafemi Open Challenge. This is what I didn't like. So he had an open challenge. Adam Pearce is like, it's nobody in the back that can take you on. Nobody wants to face you. Obafemi walks to the back and he grabs Los Garza. So you don't see Angel and Humberto talking to these ladies right here. You're just gonna grab them mid conversation. They talking to three ladies. He go backstage. The first people he see, he grab them mid conversation, start beating on them, drag them to the ring, and then the match is made, and it just happens. So Adam Pearce don't got no say. He not gonna stop this. The Los Garces didn't agree to this match. They wanted new opportunities, but they're supposed to agree to these opportunities, or at least be put into the like they were forced into the match. The referee didn't even check with them to see, oh, do y'all want to go? And that's what the referee is supposed to do, right? But the referee not gonna check to see if they actually want to continue with the match, and they just let Obafemi beat on them. Like it's like Los Garces had a job to Royce Keys back to back weeks, and then they dropped to Obafemi, and now they not with WWE anymore. Because I found that out this morning. That's weird. It's like them losing fine, but you gave them this here nigga damn tag title run in AAA, which was a good run. I was watching AAA a little bit at that time. It was going crazy. They had a good tag team run. You could actually use them in the tag division. Talk about them getting new opportunities. Then their opportunity is, oh, Obafemi's gonna beat you up, and now y'all aren't employed anymore. Like what? That don't make sense. You could act, you could actually use them in the tag division. So that don't make no sense to me. And then you had the main event, which featured Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending his triple I Mega Championship against the original El Grande Americano, aka Chad Gable. Um, Good match, great main event. I really enjoyed this. The interferences made sense. You had before the match, you had Finn take out JD, so that way it'll be a fair one-on-one match. But then obviously El Grande is feuding with Gabe was feuding with Kaiser and SD El Grandes, so he came out there. Then Los Americanos and Los Sombreros Americanos all came out there. They got involved a little bit. So this is a match where it's like, yeah, some interference, but it makes sense because they're building the mask for his mask match, which is on the 30th. Obviously, Dominic was going to retain, but it was a good showing. Keeps your stars wrestling on TV. He some because it's not just him wrestling. He had a segment earlier in the night. Then you had the stuff with Finn and JD still building that story, which Finn and Dom gonna have to have a match for the AAA title at some point, or Finn could cost him the AAA title when he has a match in AAA. So you're doing a good job building multiple feuds with this, and then you're getting your stars on TV. Because I do think Dominic is a star and can be a bigger star, and this is how you had to book him. You had some good segments, a good couple of segments. Then you had a great match to close the show. Well, not close it because you had the Roman stuff, but this was the last. This was the main event match, not difference between the main event match and main event segment. This was the main event match. So, got to give Dominic his props. Give Raw a 7 out of 10. Last week I gave it a 4. I think this was a drastic improvement from last week. Now Raw has been inconsistent, so maybe they drop off again next week. Well, hopefully not. I want to see them continue this pace But this was great. This, well, maybe not great, but good. This was good. And then I made my shorts earlier as well, so make sure y'all check out the 3 Raw shorts I made. But can Raw keep up the consistency? Probably not. But let's hope that they do. Hope next week got to be at least a 6 out of 10 at worst. Now let's move on to the injury report. Um, for the NBA, it's just one notable injury. Obviously, the Lakers are eliminated, so I'm not talking about them. But De'Aaron Fox is day to day. Well, he's questionable for tonight with an ankle injury from last game, so it seems like he's gonna play because questionable. When questionable, the person usually plays. So I'm assuming that De'Aaron Fox is gonna play tonight. But hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe it's just sore from the last game. Maybe it's not nothing too crazy. So yeah, De'Aaron Fox, he's the first one on the injury report for this week for the Spurs. They do play the Timberwolves tonight. I think that's the only game tonight since it was 2 sweeps in the playoffs in the second round, which is crazy to think about. Yeah, it was 2 sweeps in the second. Yeah, OKC and the Knicks, they both finished their series in sweeps. But yeah, game 5 for the Timberwolves and Spurs is tonight. So hopefully, like I said, it's questionable for tonight. So it's probably not too bad. Maybe it's just sore from game 4. So I fully expect Aaron Fox to play tonight. For the NHL, Mark Stone is day to day. Uh, for the Vegas Golden Knights, they're currently tied 2-2 with with the Ducks, with the Anaheim Ducks. So it's up in there if he can play tonight. But I don't know if he'll play tonight. He could, because he's day to day, but he might be. But it seems like he'll be returning for game 6 more than likely. Like, probably won't play tonight, but he is day to day, so he is recovering well and recovering quickly. So it's not nothing too crazy. Didn't get wasn't able to find out what his injury was, but it don't seem too serious. So I don't think they felt the need not to really announce or let people know what it was. So he'll be back soon. Like I said, likely for game 6. For then another NHL injury, Patrick Lane for the Montreal Canadiens. He practiced this past weekend, but in a non-contact jersey. He has an abdomen injury currently, and Montreal has a 2-1 lead over the Sabres. So he could be coming back soon. How soon? No idea. If Montreal can, obviously Montreal, you're gonna want to win. You don't want to tank a game, and then now it's tied 2 games apiece. But obviously they're going to be hoping for him to come back if they do advance to the conference finals. Which, if it is tied 2 games apiece after this game 4, then maybe you could see it as, oh well, we'll be getting Lane back soon. But at the same time, you want to close out the series, and if you can get him healthy for the conference finals, then let that be. But I do think Buffalo ties it tonight. He, even with Patrick Lane, if he was able to come back, it's like he'll just be coming off injury. But I think Buffalo will be able to tie it. Maybe I'm proven wrong. I could be. I've been wrong before, so we'll see. But I do think Buffalo ties it. But he'll definitely be back for the conference finals if they get there, assuming they get there. So yeah. For WWE, Brunson Reed is still here. He's still on the injury report, but I just feel like he has to be coming back because they keep doing this thing with Seth Rollins' division, the Street Profits, and Joe Hendry. The babyfaces outnumber the heels right now, 4-3. So Brunson Reed got to be coming back. And Paul Heyman not gonna fight. He gonna cut some promos. He might grab a leg or something like that, but he not finna fight, and he definitely gonna take a bump. We know Paul Heyman not afraid to do that. So yeah, Brunson Reed, he's still up, but I just got a sneaky suspicion that he's coming back soon. So we'll see. But I've been predicting this for the last couple of weeks with how they've been building this story. So if he's back soon, I wouldn't be surprised because that's kind of what I'm expecting at this point. So, and then next, so that's okay. And all right, next, and then Brunson Reed, he still got a torn tricep, so I actually don't know the timetable for that, but he's been out for a while. For Then Sheamus is still out for WWE. He was ruled out during the John Cena tournament, the last time it's now tournament, to determine who is going to be John Cena's final opponent. That Gunther ended up winning, but it's still no, like we don't know what his injury is. It was never revealed, and he doesn't have a clear timetable either. So that's kind of weird that they never actually revealed what his injury is. So because people thought they was taking him out just to take him out, but it seems like he was actually injured. Maybe he got injured working out or something like that. But that's wild. And then over AEW, Buddy Matthews is still out. Unclear timetable. He's been out for a minute. These these AEW wrestlers could realistically come back at any time, which is crazy to think about because when they get close to returning, you really have no clue. Because when like what's the name? Not Adam Copeland, when he was ruled out with an injury, it took forever to find out when he was going to come back because he just showed up. He just came back. Like nobody knew when he was coming back, and he wasn't even injured. Then Samoa Joe, he just came back. So that for not to move on for baseball because the last four injuries are all in the MLB. First, Logan Ohape, catcher for the Angels. He's out with a wrist injury. He's already been out for 4 days. And when it was revealed that he was out, said he'd be out for just 10 days. Get a reevaluation, see how that goes. So 6 more days for him till he gets that reevaluation. Then if that goes well, he should be able to return in the next couple of days after that. If not, hopefully there's no setbacks for him. Then the Angels, they love to have him back. So yeah, he's out for now, out for the next few days, but nothing too crazy. Not like they finna miss because they're 16 to 26, so they're definitely gonna want him back as soon as possible. But bottom of the division, they're only 6 games back of the Athletics. The Athletics are only 2 games over 500, so maybe like it's possible they could catch him if they gain some momentum. If they get hot at the right time. They're 4-6 in their last 10, which the whole division is 4-6 in their last 10, except for the Athletics, who are just 5-5 in their last 10. So that division, it won't be hard to try to bounce back in that division. For the Dodgers, Tommy Edman, second baseman, he's out with an ankle injury and not expected to be back till June 1st. Last night definitely would have been a game where they could have used Tommy Edman, and that they played the Giants and lost 9-3. It was tied 3-3. Then the Giants just went berserk in the bottom of the seventh. But I feel like that's a game. That's a game where he definitely could have made a difference. Definitely could have played a big factor in that. Obviously, the Dodgers, they're still having a great season. They're currently 24-17, half game back of the Padres. So and they've lost 3 in a row. And so having Tommy Edman has definitely been a hit to them. But I don't think this losing streak is going to last long, though. They're still 3.5 games ahead of Diamondbacks, who are 20-20. And like I said, they lost to the Giants, but I do think they'll bounce back. But not having him is definitely rough. Can't deny that. For the Brewers, they're missing Brandon Lockridge, their left fielder. He's getting an MRI on his knee. He got an MRI on his knee. He's expected to return on May 25th, and the Brewers, they're 22-16. Same. Well, my Cardinals are 23-17, so they're essentially their records are basically the same. It's just one less. They got one less game played. Now they got 2 games less played than us, so we're both 3.5 back up first from the Cubs. But I just hope we can catch the Brewers first because like they played one less game than us. So, but prayers up to him. Brandon Lockridge. The Brewers definitely going. They definitely want anybody because the division is so tough in the National League Central, with all the teams being above 500. Anything could happen in that division, so you want something to shake. Need some type of luck. And then Keaton Anthony, first baseman for the Phillies. He's day to day with a toe injury, so nothing too crazy. The Phillies, they're 9 games back of the Braves. They're 19-22. Is that the Phillies, Marlins, and Nationals are all 19-22 and tied for second in their division. Meanwhile, the Braves are far and away the best team here at 28-13. Then the Mets are far and away the worst team at 15-25. And so definitely gonna be definitely missing him. especially in a division where you're losing like this and not playing well at all. But prayers up to him. The rest up the injury report. Yeah, prayers up to everybody that's injured and hoping everybody has a speedy and safe recovery and no setbacks. But yeah, the rest of it for the injury report this week. I'm gonna try to not put Brunson Reed here again because I know I put him here last couple of weeks. But yeah, let's dive into the last segment. Are we buying this? Will the Ducks versus Golden Knights go 7 games? It's nothing really crazy going on because I was like, because I talked about the who it was somebody in the NHL. I'm forgetting who. That's not what I was looking for. But the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are 8-0 in the playoffs so far. It's like I just talked about. Can they sweep the Flyers? And they did that. So it'll be crazy to question if they're contenders, if they can win the Stanley Cup. When I predicted them to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, so it's like that's pretty. Like if I predict them to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, there's no point in me making a segment of "Are we buying this?" about them. The same thing I was thinking for OKC. I was like, I had OKC and Boston in the finals. So it's like OKC is 8-0. Are we buying them winning the championship? They're a contender regardless. So it's like, I've like for this week, it was nothing really crazy that I could that was going on. The MLB season just wrapped up. Nothing really crazy in the MLB that's going on. And then for the NFL, I feel like we just got to get closer to the season to see what teams look like. Like in Major League Baseball, nobody's on a crazy winning streak. The longest active winning streak is 4 games. If it was like, I feel like it was like 7, 8 games, then yeah, that'd be worth talking about. But yeah, nothing really crazy going on this week. And then the WNBA season just started. So a team that's on one, are they finna be the worst team ever? Like the season just started. So the WNBA, they'll be up here, but it's going to be a few weeks before they get up here because the season just started. Like the Valkyries shooting 40% from three, they could do that next game. It's still the first. What's the second week of the season now? So they could realistically continue that with the season just starting. Then by the middle of the season, it calms down, or maybe it doesn't. But I figured I'd just go with this one since that's the most relevant topic that could end in either 6 or 7 games. So it's really either or. So it's a clear cut yes or no. So my series tied. The Golden Knights and Ducks series is tied 2 games apiece through 5 games so far. And what's been interesting about this series is the fact that it's only been 1 game that was like ultra close. Like it was a few that was decided by 2 goals where it wasn't like a crazy blowout. But 3 of the games have been decided by 2 or more goals, which that's not necessarily always a blowout. It was 1 game that was for sure a blowout. Then the other two was kind of like it wasn't a blowout, but it was just like the final score is disappointing. But the games was entertaining and it didn't look that bad. And so, because the Golden Knights won games so 1 and 3 of the series, one game 1-3-1, and one game 3-6-2, which was the only clear blowout of the series. Then the Ducks they won 3-1 in game 2, and they won 4-3 in game 4, which was the closest game, the most competitive, the most intense. Even though it was both a lot of goals by both teams, it was like it wasn't the most. There was the name the Golden Knights had scored, but it was definitely like this game. Obviously, that game 3 was amazing by Vegas, and there was such an anomaly in this series with how bad the game was as far as like a blowout goes. But yeah, you got 3 games that was decided by 3 or more goals, with by 2 or more goals, which it was really just the one. Like I said, that game 3 was such an anomaly where it just wasn't close at all, and it didn't matter what the Ducks did. So it was just a strange game from Anaheim. But yeah, Mitch Marner, he's been great this series. Like Mitch Marner, he's changed the narrative around him. Like obviously they talked about him in Toronto, trying to label him the problem, this and that. And he's led Vegas to the second round. So far in this series, he has 4 goals, 5 assists, and has been a +4 for Vegas when he's on ice. It was 1 game that was such an outlier where he was a -3, which I think that was that game 2? No, yeah, that was game 2 where Mitch Marner just didn't play his best. But overall, Mitch Marner's been really good this series. Been really good this playoffs. And like I say, he's changing the narrative around him, and now it really looks bad for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like it's making them look bad. So I'm really hoping for the best for Mitch Marner. I don't even watch hockey like that. Well, I've been watching for 3 years now, so I've definitely been watching more consistently. But Vegas, they're favored tonight, but not by a lot though. They're not favored like heavily, but it's still one of the three active series going on. As the Hurricanes did sweep the Penguin. No, the Hurricanes swept the Senators and the Flyers. The Flyers beat the Penguins in six in a game where they led 3-0. But yeah, but back to this series though. Every game has really been a toss up because really any team can win these games. Like that's such a standard statement, but it's really been a toss up because like the result, the overall game, it's like it's been unexpected each time. Like the last game being so high scoring, didn't expect that. And the goalkeeping has been spotty. Like when the goal, like when Hart and Doster, when they're on one, when they're playing their best, when they're getting saves, when they're going crazy, it's like, yeah, you can't beat them. Then it's games where it's like, oh, wow, you give up 5 goals. Man. Or it's games where you give up, oh, three in the last one. Oh, wow. But my save percentage looks great. You gave up 3 goals, buddy. Like, what's going on? But this goalkeeping has been spotty, which I think will continue throughout the series. It really just depends. I don't think it's going to continue. Maybe game six, it's going to be, I think game six might be crazy. But the X factors for the Ducks, that's Carlson, Gunther, McTavish, and Granlund. I think those four, they have to be the best when it comes to getting assists, when it comes to scoring goals, when it comes to keeping the team motivated. There's the X factors for the Ducks. And then for the Golden Knights, those same reasons, those same their X factor is obviously different because it's a different team. When it comes to keeping the game close, making sure you stay in it, even growing a big lead, their X factors include Pavel D. I forget how to pronounce his last name. Eckel, Mitch Marner, of course, and their Carlson, but with a K. And so all four of them, they had to be fantastic. They had to be the leaders of this team to lead them to victory. And then my predictions, does this will the series go seven? In my opinion, it will. Um, I do think it goes seven. We had what one we had 1 7 game series in the first round of the NHL playoffs, which is crazy it was 3 7 game series in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So that's kind of wild. But I have I think I have it going to seven. I think game five, which is not no, game five is tonight. Game five, I got the Ducks winning 2-1. I think they win back to back games to go up 3-2 in this series. I think Vegas comes out hot in game six and they win 7-2. I think they'll have a dominant performance. They'll recover well from their loss. Not just recover well, but dominate the game, proving that, oh yeah, this isn't over. We're upset. That we couldn't that we couldn't win this game and make this our closeout game. And then game seven, Vegas back at home. I think Vegas wins 1-0 in overtime. I think games five and seven is gonna be where it's like Dostal and Hart play their best. I think game five is gonna be another outlier game, but I got Vegas winning in 7 games. I got them advancing to the second round. I think it's been a fun series. I think that continues. It could very well end in six on either side, honestly. Like I wouldn't be surprised with either team winning. But I do think it comes down to game seven. I do think it comes down to overtime. I do think it's truly a toss up between who can win between these two teams. But I am going with Vegas to win the series. But I got the Ducks winning tonight, though. I think the Ducks win tonight, then Vegas wins the last 2 games and advance to the conference finals. But with that being said, leave a like on the video on this live. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Comment your thoughts on anything that I talked about and share for others to see.